Hi friends, this is Marilyn from tarotclarity.com, and it's occurred to me that I can't really create a playlist called What is Tarot and How Does It Work without addressing the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room is, are all tarot readers charlatans? Is the profession of tarot reading a scam? And it's a legitimate question. Let's take a look at when we turn on the news. How often when we watch the news do we hear about another attorney who's been brought up on corruption charges, or another pedophile priest, or a high-ranking school administrator who misappropriated funds, right? Every profession has the great potential for charlatans and people who pursue the profession for ill gain. Now, I think all the professions I've mentioned are the type of professions that people feel a calling to, right? People who are teachers are said to feel they have a calling for it. I can speak on that, because I was a teacher for, a large part of my career. I'm essentially retired now, although I'm not now because now I have the luxury of having my own business, which is tarot reading. But for many years, I chose teaching as my front, my profession where I made my income, how I bought this house, right? And the clergy are people, I've heard it said that, I had a friend who was a priest many years ago, and he expressed it from a young age. He knew that was his calling. And as a tarot reader, I can tell you from a very young age, I was called to do this as well. So, professions where people are called to do it, there is a desire in those professions. The underlying commonality that they have is helping people or being of service or being useful to society. But there is great potential in all of those professions, including, and especially perhaps, tarot reading, to exploit and take advantage of people. Maybe some people go into teaching because, or administration, in either education or someplace where there's money or power, because it's they see the ways that they can manipulate a system and be exposed to the people that they want to exploit, as could pedophile priests, as could charlatans of tarot reading professionals, right? So there is great potential, but it's not just, a great potential for tarot readers. I mean, it's a great potential for anyone of any profession to either become jaded and start going on the dark side, seeing loopholes of how they can, work it for them. But I think more than likely, these people who are charlatans, who go into any number of fields, do it for the wrong reason. They don't do it because it's a calling. They do it more they see it as a way to get rich, or they're smart enough, or they think they are, to see the loopholes and ways to exploit the people they want to take advantage of. And I think that it's legitimate to recognize that there are a great many people of all professions, including tarot readers, to take advantage of people. And for some reason, tarot readers seem to really we seem to have a lot more baggage to overcome than, a teacher who, there may have been a teacher who did something inappropriate. There may be pedophile priests, but not every people still go to church, right? People still go to attorneys, even though some of them are just ratters, and so, but tarot reading, it seems like we have a harder time overcoming the stigma of somebody who is a scammer, and they exist. Not too long ago, maybe within the past year or two, I read an article in the New York Times And it was unfortunate, like the few times we read about tarot reading in the New York Times, it's about a charlatan. But I did read another article or two about tarot as something to be considered, as a helpful thing. So I will give the New York Times credit for that. But the article that I'm thinking of was of a person who, I guess, was a network of tarot readers in the family. And they went into it strictly to be scam artists. And, their shtick was to glom, tens of thousands of dollars from an individual and, or have that person buy them a diamond ring or something extremely, expensive. And that ring then had power to help bring back to life a loved one that person had lost. Now, that's an extreme case, and I think most people who go to tarot readers understand that they're putting down $30, $40, or $50 or maybe more for a tarot reading. But they have the understanding that it's a tarot reading, right? Somebody's going to interpret the cards and tell them what they see. And so I don't think most people go into a tarot reading with the expectation that they're going to bring somebody back from the dead or work some kind of, magic in that way. But there are people who are really vulnerable. Most people are vulnerable, right? And I think, to tell you the truth, most people who come to tarot readers have a need for healing, or there is some vulnerability on their part. Maybe, let's say, for example, it's about a relationship, and a great majority of readings are about relationships that have gone kaput. And maybe somebody's having a really, really hard time getting past it. And they want to know, they begin to obsess, what is this other person doing? Who is he with? Who is she with? That kind of thing. And there are people who will take those kind of readings. I will redirect when a person comes to me from that angle. But at any rate, the point I was really trying to make is that people come when they're vulnerable. They want answers, or they want healing, and there's I can see the potential for taking advantage of someone. Maybe the person who's obsessing over, a relationship that just ended. Maybe the subject, blocked him or her, can't get through, and they're stalking and they're doing like really kind of crazy stuff. There's a huge responsibility, if you're a tarot reader, to redirect that energy. Now my perspective on tarot reading, and I guess, I should address that because, you're watching my feed, right? The way I handle something like that, if somebody's obviously obsessing, is to redirect their energy and to redirect their focus and to have them own part of what happened, right? Not so much to say what the person is doing, because I won't spy on anyone. But I will couch it as, what do you need to know? Well, this person has moved on. You need to know that this person has moved on. And, what can you do to regain your life or to get past this individual? That's how I redirect. So I don't take the question and feed into their addiction, right? I don't feed into their addiction for learning more about the person they're with, or, where is he? Where is he going to be? Where can I find him? He's blocked me. That's like a real slippery slope. And it's not something, although it's something that people do expect us to do. And it's kind of weird because they come to us, a large number of them come to us expecting something like that, right? But then when it doesn't come true or it doesn't pan out, then we're charlatans, so it's a very dangerous thing to accept, to bring into your fold, Part of being, a professional, that I've felt, my obligation is to do the readings that I'm attracted to. If somebody asks me to do something that I'm not going to take their money to do something like bring somebody back from the dead. I might agree to help them get past a death, help them, consider ways that the loved one can be remembered, or ways that the loved one might be a presence in their life. And I do believe that that can be true, but it's mostly to bring closure. It's mostly to help them get past the chapter and not get them addicted to coming back and back and back and back for a quick fix, which I think is what happens with, and I think it can be a temptation for a tarot reader to to accept in large quantity, to accept that kind of client. Now, what happens when you redirect clients who are obsessing, they're stalking, or it's clear they're doing something dangerous, I redirect, as I described already. And if they don't like how I read the cards, well, then I'm not their tarot reader and they're not my client, and they go someplace else. And that's really okay, because after 40, 50 years of doing this, the people who are meant to find you find you. And I don't look for them. When someone comes to me for a reading or for a lesson, they've come to me. I don't advertise, with the exception of, plugging, putting a plug in for myself on a YouTube channel, or my Instagram accounts or something like that. I don't pay for ads. Most of my clientele and whether they're clients for a tarot reading or for lessons, are from word of mouth. People who have used my services, who were gracious enough to share my information, and someone comes in and then I read for them because they have an understanding of who I am and what I do. Or people like yourself who just chance upon me, and that's a legitimate way to find someone. I'm not somebody with 10,000, followers or subscribers, right? I'm a tarot reader with a very modest following here on YouTube and Instagram. So I'm not someone that is well known, and part of that is by design. The way, the years that I became active as a tarot reader, in the 70s and 80s and 90s, especially when the years that I was raising children, I was very protective of my children, and I didn't want them to be made fun of because their mom was that weirdo, So although I raised my children honestly, they definitely were raised in a magical household. They, had magic rocks when they got scared, and they would clutch the magic rocks to feel better in situations where they were frightened, and it really worked. Could be the power of suggestion or just something to focus their energy on other than the fear. It helped. I certainly took my children to the pediatrician when they needed an antibiotic or they hurt themselves, but I wasn't opposed to, hands-on healing or trying magical ways to help restore their healing. But it's like a blend. It was like my children were definitely raised in a magical household, and they knew their mommy read tarot cards, and they knew that the cards were really special, and can't play with mommy's cards. But I did branch. I didn't put a neon sign in front of my window and say, hey, tarot read here. I kept it a very low profile. And when I was a teacher, I certainly never crossed that line. My principal, one of the principals that I had, actively went and sought out tarot readers. And I never once said, I'm a tarot reader, I can read your cards, because I never crossed that line, If she found me on her own, or from someone else who directed her to me for that, good. but I've never, said, hey, I'm a tarot reader. I never say it, as a matter of fact. When people ask me what I do, I just say I have my own business. And then if they press it further, I might say I'm a consultant. And then if they press it further, usually my husband blurts out, oh, she's a tarot reader. It's usually him that tells people. But at any rate, it is a profession that it is an activity that I kept private for a great many years. In fact, my current husband, I was married once before, and when I remarried, my husband didn't even know I read tarot cards for the first 2 years we were married, and we dated for 5. And I'm not bragging, because I don't think it's, now I regret that I hadn't opened up to him, but my experience had been that being a person like I am could be a complication for someone I love, like my children, or my husband. It could be a complication for him. It could be an embarrassment for him. So I kept it private. And what did he think I did all the time? I guess he thought I was a housewife. I was really slinging the cards. But once he found out that I did, I read tarot, he was very supportive. And he's usually one that says, oh yeah, she's a tarot reader, and oh yeah, she's great, she's really good, you should try her. So but I met him late in life. I was, I didn't have a voice piece like him for many, many years. It was, a private kind of thing. So is tarot reading a scam? I guess you have to, when you choose a tarot reader, or you go to a tarot reader, or you want to learn tarot, you have to ask yourself, what are your reasons for it? Are you wanting to learn tarot because you see it as an opportunity to make a quick buck, or to scam people? That's not a good reason, right? I didn't buy this house through my tarot profession. I bought this house, because I worked as a teacher. I was an educator for many years. And that's how I bought this house. And it wasn't until I, retired that I reached the point in my life where I could just do what I wanted to do. My time and my, I have the blessing of not worrying, about hustling and, working 9 to 5. And I was able just to finally do this full time, create a business for myself where I'm out there. Tarot Clarity LLC is my business entity, but I don't advertise anywhere. I still am just, my clients are people that I've had for a great many years, and they're friends that they've directed to my way. And sometimes people just find me, like maybe you found me on YouTube or on Instagram or something like that. But you have to ask yourself, why are you getting the reading? Are you getting the reading because you want to know the future? Do you want someone to fix your life? Do you want someone to, are you giving someone power to, give you something that it would, in the natural world, just seems to be impossible? You have to be careful about the reasons why you want a tarot reader. Now, if you want a tarot reader because you're in a difficult or challenging situation, and where you think, maybe you're being taken advantage of by somebody else, in your life, or you think your marriage or your relationship is going south, and you want to fix it, or you want to know what you can do to fix it, then I think a tarot reading can be extremely helpful, because a tarot reader lays cards, handles and mixes the cards, concentrates, taps into whatever resources they feel that they connect to. And I think for every tarot reader, it's a different thing, a different process. Maybe it's the same. I can't speak for others. And then we interpret the cards, what we see in the cards, what our understanding of the cards are, because I'll say this: understanding the cards required years. I kind of scoff when I say, "Oh, learn how to read tarot in an hour." I'm like, red flag. I mean, there's so much to it. I know that I'm still learning, and I've been reading the cards for almost 50 years, and I still research every day, and I still learn. And so I don't think tarot is something that you could do get rich quick kind of thing. And I'm having a senior moment. I'm sorry, I can't remember what the point I was trying to make, and I don't want to stop the video. I can't rewind it and see what I was saying, but tarot is something that requires a skill set, to interpret the cards and to make sense of them in a meaningful way, and to know exactly how to appropriate the meaning of the cards to the person's question, so that they have meaning and that they walk away not with a prediction, but with an understanding of how they can take charge of the situation and what they can do to get their life back on track, with or without a person, or with or without the job. And it's not that the cards have power. It's the person who's reading and interpreting the cards' responsibility to give meaning. Someone comes to you, they've probably talked, okay, say it's an example of someone who's broke in a relationship, and everybody in her family, her sister, her friends are saying, lose him, he's a loser, he's terrible, dump him, So they can't go to their family anymore with the problems they're having in a particular relationship. So they go to someone else, like a tarot reader, who has no stake in the outcome of the relationship. Sure, maybe they're paying me $40 to interpret the cards, to give them insight and to give them information that they might not have thought of. Just something to consider that might not have occurred to them, right? But I have no stake in the game. I don't care if they stay with this guy for the next 30, 40 years of their lives, right? I don't care if they break up with him. I only care that I'm giving them the information or the tools they need to regain the power that they've lost in giving someone else the power of, being the obsession of their life, right? So sometimes people come to you, because they are obsessing over something, or they don't want other people to know. Maybe there's something going on in their life and they don't want to discuss it with family members, and so they want someone who's outside of that realm to give them insight. I mean, even though tarot readers, interpret cards for profit, and we should, because it's a skill set, and if you're if you're very good, you deserve to be, you deserve to be compensated. There should always be a compensation. But it's just, like they'll come because you're an indifferent party. You'll give them ideas that they didn't think of, or something to consider. So there, I think I've addressed the issue of whether or not tarot readers are charlatans. Some are. Certainly, it's a profession that's got a lot to overcome. There is great potential for people to take advantage of others. And you have to decide why you want to go into it, and even why you even want to have a tarot reading. Are you going into it, or are you learning it because you think you're going to get rich, and that you see a potential for exploiting other people? I hope none of the people who are watching my videos are that kind of person. I really hope not. But I do kind of believe that people are drawn to you for a reason. And if you sincerely want to learn, or you want to see how other people do tarot, then I'm happy to share what I know. And what I do know is, going down the route of exploitation is a dangerous slope. And it's not gratifying at all. But if you go into it for healing and to help people, get over the death of someone, maybe sometimes they have a very real, some people, and myself included, I totally believe that my mother and my father visit me on occasion. And I totally believe that when I walk into a building, I can tell, if certain households, like I can tell, something happened here, So I totally believe in that kind of thing. And I'm not opposed to doing readings that help someone understand when they have an experience like that, what it meant, you know. But I never, ever, have the intention of, do this and, pay me $40,000 and I'll bring your loved one back to life in the reincarnation of somebody else. I never get involved in anything like that. And it's I don't think it's something that any legitimate tarot reader would do. So if you could, try to, catch, a tarot reader at something like that, maybe pick their least expensive, offer that they have, and put out a question, like that and see what their response is, I think a legitimate tarot reader would give you your money back if you paid in advance, in this day and age with the internet, most of the time readings are paid for in advance. I know that I require payment in advance. And you can feel someone out, pay them, ask them for an outrageous thing and see how they respond if they take to it, If you want a prediction about what something's going to happen on what date or whatever, I think it's possible to, get an idea or to direct someone that something might take a long time or that something might happen, on a quick, quickly, because we are interpreting the cards to answer anybody's question, But I don't think that, I think it's a dangerous thing to say on, December 23rd, 2024, this is going to happen. This is going to happen by this date. Maybe some people can do that. I'm just not one of them. At any rate, I hope this has been insightful and helpful in understanding and for yourself whether tarot reading is, falls under the umbrella of a scam and if it's a legitimate thing or not. Obviously, I think it's a legitimate thing. I think I offer insights to people to help them heal, help them gain control of sometimes an out of control life, or just get perspective. They're absolutely healthy, normal, well-adjusted people who might not be able to go to other people in their family or their close friends. Maybe they want to keep something private and they just come for advice. And I'm a third party, who's indifferent to the outcome. The only thing that I gain is monetary exchange for my skill set, and interpreting the cards and giving them ideas that might be helpful to them in readjusting their life or achieving a goal, Okay, friends, until next time, stay well. Peace.